Hello everyone, I'm Agnes, and today Henrik, Cameron and myself will talk about our community collaboration and especially how we have worked together with the community for Caves and Cliffs Part 2 and how we have worked with the feedback we have got, because we have got so much amazing feedback which we are very thankful for. The work on Caves and Cliffs Part 2 is actually going really well. Right now we are focusing a lot on polishing the world generation and on improving performance. And it's so beautiful to see how the team and the community are working together to craft this epic update, which I want to say is the biggest update we ever made. It's definitely the update that rocked the world. Working with community feedback has been super important for Minecraft for many years, long before I joined Mojang. And we have identified two main things that we think are so valuable and just beautiful with how we work together with the community. And one of them is the personal contact that developers, designers and artists have with the community. We talk directly to the community, and I think it's just super valuable and something that's important for Minecraft. And the other thing is that we actually can adapt to the feedback we get very quick. So we release a beta or snapshot, we get feedback, and then we can fix things and release another beta and snapshot, and then we can continue to iterate like that. And yeah, it's very valuable and it helps us create really good experience for our players.
Hi, I'm Henrik. I work as a gameplay designer and developer and coach on the Minecraft team. So now that 1.17 is shipped, we are focusing almost entirely on part 2 of the Caves and Cliffs update. So we're making good progress. It's super fun. So community feedback is absolutely vital to everything we do. We make a game, and this update in particular, we've made a ton of changes to pretty much everything in how the game looks like, the terrain generation, caves, mountains, etc. So when we do things like the recent experimental snapshots, I'm pretty active on social media and various platforms such as Twitter and Reddit and YouTube. And basically listen in on the buzz, watch what people are doing, watch streams. And sometimes I post questions also, polls. And I show examples of my work while I'm working to kind of get spontaneous feedback. One thing that happened in this update is that rivers got wider and we got big mountains. So the question is, what should happen when a river meets a mountain? And a lot of players were concerned that rivers tend to kind of dry up and cause these really dried out river valleys. And I talked a lot to the players about that, and some would prefer that the rivers carve through the mountains so you can take a boat and travel really far. While other players were more interested in land travel, and for them, a big river cutting through a mountain makes land travel harder. So how do we find a balance? And we ended up with making both happen, but randomly. So sometimes the river will cut through a mountain, other times it'll stop and rise up and form like a saddle valley. But what we try to avoid is having a river kind of form this really steep, dry gorge.
So what is the key to the success of Minecraft? Because Minecraft is this epic phenomenon. One of the reasons I think definitely is the collaboration with the community. Even though here at Mojang there's so many very creative, super talented, super clever people, but we still can't be as creative as millions of players. So to get all the different ideas and feedback from players really help us to come up with really good ideas for the game.
When I was working on tuning the beaches a little bit, I posted a picture of how the beaches look like now and a version of a much bigger beach, and asked people, how do you feel? How beachy should the beaches be, right? And they, tweeted comments and feedback, and I ended up doing a compromise. I posted a third picture of something in between. But yeah, that was really a good example of when feedback really helped me with the practical kind of day-to-day tuning.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm the Senior Community Manager for Vanilla Gameplay at Mojang. The feedback that we've been getting for the experimental world generation snapshots that are leading up to Caves and Cliffs Part 2 have been really interesting, super interesting feedback, really useful feedback as well. If I think back to the very first experimental snapshot that we did earlier in the summer, the next one had a ton of changes already, and that was only the second one. We're up to number 4 or 5 now, so you can imagine there's been a ton of iteration over the past several weeks. And it's been really interesting because we've had feedback on things like terrain generation and biome generation, and really just trying to tidy those things up as we lead up to the update. And what's awesome to see is that even though you have these different communities on places like Twitter and Reddit and things like that, there have been common feedback trends that we've seen across those different communities, which tells us that, okay, this is something that we need to change. So that's what's so good about having all of these different places to collect feedback from. You find out different things between each, but there's also common trends that really help us nail down what we definitely need to change. So it's great.
I like to sometimes also log in to public servers just to make sure that my feedback is not just from streamers and YouTubers and the like. The nice thing about that is those are people just playing the game. They're not trying to contact the developers or anything. Instead, I go find them, sometimes anonymously and sometimes as myself. And often we have really interesting conversations about the features that they're trying out, or I can just observe them playing.
So really, to us, all feedback is useful, and all feedback is feedback that we want to hear. Whether you've been playing Minecraft for 10 years or you've been playing it for 10 minutes, we just want to hear what players think about the stuff that we're working on, so we can iterate and just make the game the best it can possibly be.
The reason why it's important for us to get feedback is, well, it improves the game, first of all, but it's also fun. It makes the users, as players, feel happy. We notice that people get very engaged. It kind of feels like we're a design team together, co-creating the game. And as a designer, it also helps boost my own confidence. I don't have to guess as much. If I have an idea, a question, I can ask it and I can get feedback. I don't have to make scary decisions and then hope that it's going to end up really well, when we release several months in the future.
Thank you so much for all the excellent feedback and suggestions you send in to us. It's super valuable for us, both feedback that has lots of details and lots of text, and the feedback that might be just one sentence and everything in between. So don't worry if you feel that you don't have lots of information to write. The feedback is still very, very valuable. And I also wanted to know that even though we can't answer on all the feedback, we see a lot of feedback. All of us in the team really try to look at lots of different platforms and find so much different feedback. So yeah, just super big thank you again, and also thank you for watching this video.